So, anime. Anime is, well, it's fucking anime. What else do you want me to say? And like many other forms of popular media, there are trends and genres that rise and fall in popularity, with shonen as an example being extremely prevalent during the 90s, although this genre is still popular to this very day. And then there's the subject of today's video. Isekai. The Isekai genre is definitely a controversial topic in the anime community, mainly due to the sheer amount of bland, generic fantasy isekais with OP protagonists and terrible writing that are announced every anime season. But to understand the issue, we might as well look at how this whole mess began in the first place. Sword Art Online was a light novel series written by Raki Kawahara that started in 2009, with an anime adaptation being created by A1 Pictures in 2012. Which became heavily successful, leading to multiple new seasons, a movie, a spin-off, and a heavily dedicated fanbase. As for what I think about SAO, yeah, this series fucking blows. Yeah, I don't really like this series. I used to, but then I actually got quality taste in anime. And that's definitely an opinion that people in the anime community have acquired, as I've seen more and more videos calling out many things about SAO recently. But you might be asking, what are these bad aspects of SAO? Well, buckle up and allow me to quickly list out all of the major flaws of the series that pretty much every anime YouTuber in existence has covered before. Problem number 1. Kirito is a boring and overpowered protagonist. Black or brown hair, literally no personality, generic anime hero morals, completely overpowered, and a shit ton of bitches with their only difference being their hair color chasing him around every square inch he travels. If you spot all of these traits in a character, you have just encountered the generic isekai protagonist, trademark, and oh boy, there sure are a lot of them, that's for certain. With a character that pretty much started this entire shitty ass trends being Kirito. The most personality they give him is in episode 3 of the Aincrad arc, where this plot device disguised as a character dies in the stupidest way possible. Also, I guess he has PTSD from his time in VR after the Aincrad arc, but that only shows up like twice. His character design looks like some generic gacha life OC you'd see on DeviantArt. He's a literal bitch magnet, with a woman orbiting around him including generic tsundere, dead, a fucking child, some blacksmith or something I guess, his sister, a sniper main, and I guess you could count Alice, but I didn't finish watching Alicization, so I can't really say for certain. Also, let's not forget the fact that Kirito can easily survive a barrage of attacks while standing still by episode 4 of the first fucking season. Problem number 2. None of the other characters are that interesting either. As I said in the previous part, none of Kirito's love interests are that compelling either. Like, I guess the sniper bitch has some things going for her. Wait, no, not that. But as I was saying, the rest of the cast aren't really any better, although good old Klein over here is a bit of an exception for me. He's literally the only character I was invested in when rewatching the series, and he only really appears in a couple of episodes, since he's just kind of vibing with skill off screen most of the time. Apart from that, literally no other characters are actually written well, with their quality ranging from okay to downright comical. Problem number 3. Plot holes and generally shitty writing. Why did this random guy trap a shit ton of people inside of his stupid fantasy game? I don't know, he just kind of forgot. How did this one guy create Full Dive VR by 2022 with only 10 years of development and a small amount of funding? I don't know, magic. Why is the villain of the fairy arc so cartoonishly evil? Why did it take 40 years for the military to take advantage of the super advanced VR technology that was already available to the public? Who and where the fuck are Kirito's parents? I think you get the idea. And it's not like these are minor nitpicks from unimportant parts of the story. These are plot holes involving some major and important parts of the series as a whole. Although I have heard that Kawahara has improved his writing skills recently, an SAO alternative ended up being pretty good actually. But I've been talking about this dumb show for too long now, let's get back to the main focus of the video. SAO was definitely a big influence in the isekai genre after the anime blew up in popularity. And by that I mean it fucking ruined it. As all the other shows after it followed the same structure of generic kid gets transported to fantasy land, where he gets with a shit ton of bitches and becomes a literal god in terms of power level. With the only real difference between the shows being a dumb gimmick added in that only really helps make the show even worse. Although, thankfully, there are some diamonds in the... wait, what the fuck are you doing here? Anyways, as I was saying, there are some diamonds in this pile of shit that at least use this genre to make something actually good, ranging from parodies of the entire circle jerk that are most modern isekai shows, the smarter versions that provide an interesting story to follow, to even a return to the basics of what makes the isekai genre what it is to begin with. And I will now present these shows in whatever order I feel like because this is my video, shut the fuck up. Konosuba is a light novel series written by Natsume Anatsuki in 2013 that pretty much parodies all of the generic bland isekai anime I just covered earlier. And I love it. For example, the protagonist of this series, Kazuma, might seem like a stereotypical isekai protagonist at first glance, but in actuality he's a complete fucking degenerate who gets his ass obliterated after most fights, as well as being an advocate for true gender equality. The fucking Chad. And this is what Konosuba does for most of its main cast as well as some of its side characters, by either completely subverting the trope or exaggerating it to the point of being comical, such as Aqua being an exaggeration of the tsundere trope to the point of becoming an egotistical bastard, Megumin being an exaggeration of the little sister trope to the point of being perfection incarnate, and Darkness being an exaggeration of the big sister / heroic knight trope to the point of distorting selfless heroism into selfish masochism. In general, this show is just all the same side characters being fucked over by the main cast. Also, there's a cute wizard girl, so 15 out of 10. I've only really read the first 2 volumes of the manga for this series, so I can't really give as definitive of a view of the series as Konosuba, but it's still worth covering. Rising of the Shield Hero is another light novel series written by Eneko Usagi in 2013, which is pretty much just your standard isekai plot except this is reality and everyone's a fucking dick, with the protagonist, Naofumi, resorting to more and more immoral actions to either survive in this cruel way. This is literally just ReZero. This series really does a good job at creating a moral dilemma for the reader as for how they should see Naofumi, since, although on one hand he does commit some scummy actions throughout the series, but on the other, this guy literally suffers 24/7. For example, he was accused of rape, pineapple, given a fucking shield with no way to use any other weapons, was backstabbed by his friends from the real world and the royal family of the fantasy world for literally no reason apart from them being complete assholes, almost had his one and only friend taken away from him, and had his reputation permanently ruined. And that's like at the very start of the series, Jesus fucking Christ. I quite enjoy series that challenge the audience's sense of morality, such as Death Note for example. And Shield Hero is another fine show to add to that list. Also, Raphtalia is really fucking adorable. Oh god damn it! That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, or just Slime Isekai for short, is yet another light novel series written by Fuse? How the fuck do you spell this shit? In 2013. And while the other 2 shows I talked about previously were more so parodies or twists on the current oversaturated isekai tropes, this show instead takes on a different approach by just ignoring all of those boring and generic tropes in modern isekai to begin with, and instead just going for an old-fashioned fun story of a guy helping out some goblins or whatever. Like sure, Rimuru is like really fucking overpowered, but the combat isn't really the main focus of the show. And the times that it is used are not only made entertaining, but are also used sparingly. To be honest, one of the ways I would describe Slime Isekai would be unique. By not sticking to the tropes and structure of most other modern isekai, it manages to stand out among them. And although I, yet again, so haven't even finished watching the first season, I really need to do research before making these stupid fucking videos. I can still recommend this series to most people, even people who usually hate most isekai. If you've been paying close attention, you might have noticed that all of the series started being published around 2012 or 2013, which was shortly after the release and subsequent immense popularity of SAO's anime adaptation. This definitely shows that, even by 2013, many people in Japan were already getting tired of the same generic isekai tropes that us Western degenerates complain about to this very day. Although, there are some other isekai. God fucking damn it, you're not a fucking isekai! There's some other isekai series that I decided not to cover in this video as I haven't really watched or read enough of them to form a solid and positive opinion of them, as well as some others I want to make separate videos on. But you should probably check them out anyway if you're still interested in watching creative and innovative isekai shows. Anyways, back to talking about fucking garbage. So a while back, I started watching the series called In Another World with my smartphone, back during my SAO fan phase, and I enjoyed it a fair bit back then, but then I actually developed brain cells and dropped the series. In retrospect, yeah, the series blows! And the worst part is that it isn't even memorable. Hell, the only reason I even remember this show is because I put it on my anime list, where I ranked it a 2 out of 10. And from what little else I remember from the series, it's not really notable, like, at all. It's just a bland and generic isekai show that I had the displeasure of experiencing. And that is pretty much the same thing that happens with all the other generic isekai shows. Which is definitely really sad, since the main concept of sending a character to another world has a lot of potential. But most writers just go for the same tropes that SAO established 12 years ago. The point is, I honestly just want to see these writers and artists innovate this genre again, or at least just put an actually interesting and impactful spin on it. You might say that I shouldn't judge Kawahara or any of these other creators, as they have to constantly build on the story, characters, and worlds. And like, sure, I can't draw on these people's level even if I was being held at gunpoint, and I've never really tried my hand at writing. But I'm mainly just looking at this from a simple viewer's perspective, who just wants to see these people make more creative and outstanding series. Well, at the very least, there's a variety of other genres of anime that offer great experiences. So why did I get mad about this dumb garbage? I don't know, man, it's the internet. And a few good isekai shows that do exist have a lot to offer. So you bet I'll be awaiting new content such as the Konosuba anime's 3rd season and... Why the fuck do you keep coming back? Alright, fine. I'll make a video on Dr. Stone.